2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, buddy, and welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a Wednesday, the post Monday, the pre-Friday celebration as we continue on through the week, the greatest day of the entire week. And we are officially less than a week away from Election Day 2020. That, to me, is relatively exciting. I'm kind of excited, pumped up, ready to go. What say you? Welcome into the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, all over the country on our flagship station with radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at HooserReason.com. We also have the feed up on Parler.com and on Mind.com. Doesn't matter any of the social media. You can find us all at Hooser Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We have a big show, and bombshell after bombshell after bombshell was dropped last night. If anybody watched Tucker Carlson on Fox News, that was big. Then we have Joe Biden not remembering who he's actually going up against in the general election. Then you have Joe Biden saying that he's going to create the biggest voter fraud organization the country has ever seen. So you got that going on. Then you have Kamala Harris forgetting where she's at. You think they're over their head just a little bit? You think they're over just a little when it comes to them trying to actually run for elected office? We got to check in with him. I guess we need to. We do it every single day. Joe Biden on the campaign trail. Joe, how you feeling, buddy?
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
All right, just making sure. Hey, welcome to the show. It's great to have you along for the ride today. We got a big show lined up for you. As we get closer, we are focusing on election time. Also, it is extremely cold here in Wichita, Kansas, as it has been snowy and icy the last couple of days. Today, it's still like 30 degrees or something, so it's ridiculous overcast. So I'm tired because the overcast dreariness is exciting and exhilarating, but yet also extremely exhausting all at the same time. So we do want to, at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little bit about flu season, and with COVID-19 all at the same time, find ways to try and boost your immune system and kind of have that conversation and step away from the election for just a second. But for now, I want to get into election time.
Election 2020.
And I'm excited to have this guy back on the program. It's been a little bit since we've chatted with him. I think it's appropriate to talk to him now, getting it ready for the general election season. And as we hear more about potential voter fraud and some shenanigans going on, the big bombs, the quote-unquote October surprises that are happening, what's all this going to mean for the general election coming up next week? Plus, we have, what they say, near 70 million voters, over 70 million people have already voted with early voting. What does that mean for election time here in the nation? He is the author of the new book, The DNA of Democracy. Excited to have back on the program with us here, Richard Lyons. Richard, how are you, my friend?
Very well, Andy. I love the rock and roll.
Hey, we got to keep it fresh, right? Got to keep it exciting.
That's right.
It's good to talk to you again. It's been a little bit. Now that we are getting down to it, I'm hearing that Trump's coming up in the polls, that his numbers are actually better than what they looked like in the general election of 2016. We hear Joe Biden making more gaffes on the campaign trail, but they're trying to at least do something because they cleared their schedule for the last week or so, which I've never seen before in my life. I mean, if any political strategists look at this in an unbiased way, regardless of the candidates, and they said, wow, one guy's doing 3 rallies a day, the other guy's just showing up on a street corner randomly here. I wonder who's going to win this election. It's very strange to watch how this is all playing out.
Well, it does. The perception is, in the case of the entire media class, that Joe Biden's way ahead. I don't know in any rational world how that's possible.
Yeah. I don't understand either. And I don't know whether the polls are just wrong or whether they're trying to hype them up or whether people are just so anti-Trump right now that the polls are accurate. I'm optimistic. I'm still saying 320 electoral college votes for Trump, but I don't know whether that's going to happen or not.
Yeah, I think so, too. I don't know how you can have spontaneous rallies going on all over the country, even in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And boat parades and all these sorts of things going on. And on the other side of the ticket, on the Democratic side, I heard that Joe Biden set a record because he had 350 cars show up to one of his rallies. You just do the numbers, and it baffles you. So
yeah, it baffles me as well.
Another thing that really worries me is the squad is now saying they're going to run Biden's office for him, and that to me is really scary.
Wow. Now, the October surprises, the big bombshells that were dropped on Tucker Carlson last night, the conversations about Hunter Biden. I mean, when you talk about the DNA of democracy, the preciousness of democracy and how quickly this could be lost, the constitutional republic that we have, this democratic process of an electoral vote that we get to have, this vote that very few nations get to actually enjoy with this system. When we talk about corruption in our government, this is kind of the epitome of it, isn't it? I mean, we have the son of the vice president active at that time, that is the representative for foreign countries, that says, we're going to help you out with your diplomacy if you throw us some cash and we do some kickbacks for the family because we want our family legacy. I mean, this is truly, quote unquote, deep state, or this is corruption or establishment, whatever you want to call it. I mean, this is absurd. And the fact that it's coming out public and no one seems to be talking about it, I think really shows where we're at as a country right now, doesn't it?
To my mind, too, Andy, there's corruption at both ends. There's corruption with thinking that you can have influence in American policy over which the citizen should have control on one end, have that sort of influence, and then on the other end, the media is entirely blind to it, woefully blind. So there's really corruption at both ends of that. If the American system is not supposed to allow that persons can be corrupt and go merrily on their way. It's supposed to be a country of the citizen, not of a special few who get certain perks and are protected.
Yeah,
that's the essence of oligarchy. That's what that is.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we have that in our system. We've worked to try and clean it out, but a lot of people just want to look the other way. And not to mention that not only are we trying to expose politicians, but then when our government agencies refuse to even look at it to investigate it, I mean, how deep does this actually run?
Well, my worry, Andy, it's becoming a system where your loyalty to your party and the persons within that party are superior to your loyalty to justice or to the country. That's what that is, because you have such favors and such friends within a single party. That's what started, I hate to say it, but that is what started fascism in Europe. Mm-hmm. When you have that sort of dedication where In Germany, you were adherent to the Nazi Party above your adherence to Germany or even your family. It created a one-party system that took over the entire nation.
Yeah. Is there going to be a reset button? By the way, we're talking with Richard Lyons, author of the book, The DNA of Democracy. Is there going to be a reset button, do you think, in politics? I think that President Trump, whether some like him or dislike him, he created a movement, a populist movement, which I'm not necessarily a big fan of populism, but it was a populist movement that really tried to expose some of the quote-unquote deep state or the corruption in government that people were sick and tired of. And the last debate, I think, really exposed a lot of that when Joe Biden looked at the camera and he said, I'm talking to you, the people there at home, and he's trying to talk about himself, and I'm going to do this, and you know my character, and we're trying to base on character, and yada, yada, yada. And Trump turned around and said, that's a typical politician response. You've been there for 47 years. You promise everything under the sun. You never actually make it happen. And I am elected because of you, because of what you've done, because of how long you guys have been in office, and people want something different. Do you think there's a reset button to people now that are just so uptight, that are so angry with the way the political process goes right now, with the way things are done in Washington, D.C., that we're just done, and we just want to upset the system to try and rebuild it from the ground up?
That's a really good question. Part of the reason I wrote The DNA of Democracy, and that I wanted to show the American system as it was built, to show it in its best form, and why it is different from every other structure in the world. And I think Americans every American has a real sense that, hey, something's a little off here. Something's off with the whole system. I don't think America as a whole has divined a way to get back to reset. But just let's consider, Andy, what the Democrats want to do. In this election, if they win, they promise to pack the court, which will ruin the Supreme Court as an independent institution. They vow to destroy the filibuster, which will destroy the independence of the Senate. They vow to take over health care. That's 17% of our economy. They vow to do the Green New Deal. That's another 8% of the economy. When you add that up, 25%. Then they want to open borders and defund the police. This is all, it's the normal American, I think, and I think that's what you're seeing in the Trump movement, if you want to call it the Trump movement, is a reset in everybody's mind that, hey, this is not democracy. This isn't even our country. This is more akin to what we see in France or even Venezuela.
Yeah,
it's that sort of scary, and this business of being angry with every election that doesn't go your way, being angry with every nomination that doesn't go your way. The American way is to reconcile oppositions, not to create them.
Right.
So this is all contrary to the American experience.
Well, it's unfortunate, and as you mentioned, it's very scary. We're talking with Richard Lyons, author of the book, The DNA of Democracy. It's scary when we hear someone like Hillary Clinton telling Joe Biden not to concede on election night, when we hear about Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton all saying that we need to forcefully remove Trump from office with the military because he's not going to stay in office another term. Then we hear about, and we're going to play the audio clips a little bit later, about the issues going down in Texas right now with someone trying to harvest ballots, being paid $55,000, $70,000 to try and round up individuals to go and vote illegally in order to get certain people elected, including Joe Biden, which how far that conspiracy goes or that deepness goes, I don't know, because we're starting to just see a little bit of videos leaked little by little. But when we talk about a Democrat process of actually voting in one person, one vote, and making sure it's done legally and making sure it's done right, we got about a minute and a half left here. But talk about the dangers of this and where this is going to lead the nation.
Well, to be clear, I don't think Hillary Clinton has conceded the last election yet. So I don't think she ever did. And This is the most corrupt woman in American history. The fact that she's not in jail just shows you how corrupt a system is that protects a single party. And when you start to the reason that we have some integrity in voting is because every state controls its own vote. Now, the reason they are corrupting the vote, in my view, is that if Democrats ever get back into office again thoroughly in both houses of Congress and in the executive, they will change it to a national voting system which they control. And I think that's a scary prospect. So they're looking at it, I think, as a win-win. They can say that if Trump wins, he is again illegitimate for his entire presidency. And then they can say, well, we need to rectify how we vote. And the founders of the country very deliberately, put the seat of national voting in the hands of every state individually so that it could not be corrupted.
Yeah.
So that's something to look for after the election. And what's going to happen after this election, I don't know. I think if Trump wins, as I think he will, and as you think he will, if he wins, there's going to be a lot of anger on the other side. And I don't know what expression that's going to take.
Yeah, it's going to definitely take some time to clean things up. It definitely
yeah, I'm
is.
very happy about this, that Amy Coney Barrett got on the court, and that we have 6 conservatives there.
Yeah, I think it's going to clean a lot of things up. I tell you what, Richard,
she can help stop it.
Yeah, Richard, we got to take a break here. Can you stick over one more segment with us?
Yeah, sure.
Very good. Hang tight 1
The
second.
voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at, however you may be watching or listening. We appreciate you each and every day. We got a lot to get to today, especially getting closer to election time. And it's kind of an important one because we need to preserve and defend this constitutional republic, this democracy, this democratic process that we actually go through with election time. There's a video, and we're going to play the audio for it in a little bit here on the program, about a woman taking phone calls from judges, from state reps in the area down in Texas, from individuals, paying them in cash for her to take people to the poll to go and vote and try and manipulate. We have a big issue on our hands. Then we have the, of course, issue with Hunter Biden and the emails. We have the individual that was on Tucker Carlson last night. So there's a lot of issues trying to preserve the purpose of what this nation actually is. And he had mentioned it going into this break, so I wanted to hold him over because I think it was really important to talk about as we try to clean this process up. It's Richard Lyons. He is the author of the book, The DNA of Democracy. Richard, you mentioned the Supreme Court and the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett, which is phenomenal. I mean, we have now a 6-3 majority on the conservative side. Hopefully, I mean, John Roberts kind of floats, but now that he's got more conservative individuals on the courts, he's hopefully going to support them for the most part. But as we try and clean a lot of this up, and we see a lot of issues, I think, that are going to go to the Supreme Court, we potentially could have the Republican with President Trump still as president. Hopefully, we can see a majority in Congress with both chambers, in the House and the Senate. Whether we get both of them or not, we'll see. But if we had all of them on the conservative side, what is that going to do for the nation? Are we actually going to be able to start getting things done?
Well, I go to a deeper problem, I think, Andy, and I think what all the things that we've seen over the past 4 years are a demonstration to the American people of what they call the deep state is. It was called by Woodrow Wilson the administrative state.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on German philosophy. And since 1920, into this in volume 2 of this series of books, which is called Shadows of the Acropolis, that the Democratic Party has been unified in growing the government to the greatest extent it can. And I think it's why at this point in time, when they've relied so much on holding the executive and having the Supreme Court, that when an Amy Coney Barrett gets on the court, they go berserk. When Trump gets elected, rather than someone whom they knew would carry the administrative state to its ultimate level of controlling health care and energy, I think that drove them a little berserk too. So we're seeing the ramifications of a party that's determined on one-party rule facing us right in the face and at this time of election. And I think going back to our previous conversation, that's why persons who are Trump fans are saying, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. Yeah. This is incorrect. And what Trump has done, he's been a bulwark against that tide. And now we have to see if Republicans can be determined to really, I believe that this administrative state has to be disassembled.
And do you think that's possible? I mean, we got about 45 seconds left. Do you think that's possible that we can begin to dismantle that administrative state and get rid of some of these agencies?
Well, what's wrong with this? Why don't we start populating agencies with people from, say, Wyoming or Utah or Kansas rather than from the Northeast?
Mm-hmm.
And take a look at what they really do and try and determine whether each state should do what the national government does now.
Well, and that's really what the intention was, wasn't it? I mean, the 10th Amendment,
yes.
The state, if they wanted an environmental protection
yes.
agency, it was done at the state level.
Yes. They've taken my Volume 2, the work Volume 2, is going to go into how our government has grown away from representation and concentrated into agencies at the federal level, which we can't touch at present because they're very protected. And they determine all policy. Under Obama, there were 2,000 regulations written, which is regulatory law, administrative law, whereas out of the Congress at the same time came 183 laws.
Wow. I think
So
we can
that's
clean
the
that up.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the change in our government.
That's what we have to do. It's the DNA of democracy. Richard Lyons, my friend, it's always good to talk to you. We got to get you back on right after the election, and let's recap and see what we do from there on.
Love to. Love to, Andy.
Hey.
And good luck.
Hey, thank you, my
Just
friend.
both very good luck.
I appreciate it, my friend. It's always good to talk to you. Back after this. Stay here. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at Hooser Reason. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Legislative issues and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Wednesday, the pre-Friday, the post Monday. Living the dream, getting through this week. We are 6 days away from election time, which, as you know, that is our Super Bowl, baby. I am so excited. Number one, to get this over with. Number two, because we are going to see that red tsunami, not just a red wave. It's not going to be a wave just rolling. It's going to be a tsunami wiping everything out in its conservative path, and it's going to be outstanding to watch. So hopefully you are just as excited as I am. So election night, I want to hear from you too. On election night, what are you going to be doing? How are you going to be celebrating election night? Are you going to be watching? Are you going to be at a party? A lot of times you have like the election parties. If you've been helping with a campaign somewhere, are you going to go to election headquarters and do a party that way? I'm going to be obviously on the radio doing reports, which I'm excited about. I actually love that. I mean, if I'm going to be up late one night doing reports and stuff, I will be doing it on election night. I will be doing it live from our campaign headquarters for our 4th district here in Kansas. I'm going to be emceeing the county Republican party for our district, and I'm going to be doing radio reports as well. So there's some really cool stuff going on there. I am looking forward to that on election night. So if you care to do so, then you can stay tuned in on the Facebook pages and on the radio, and we'll be doing updates all over the place, and looking forward to that one. Looking at some of the polling, let's get into what's trending for today.
What's trending today?
What's trending today is the polls are starting to slide the other direction. Now, obviously, it had to have catch up to them at some point, right? I mean, Joe Biden, who is not doing a whole lot, has a whole 12 people at his campaign rally, and 6 of them had to be moved up from the media to sit in the little circles to be like, yay, go Joe Biden. With all that going on, eventually it was going to catch up to him. Then you have the bombshells that were dropped on Fox News yesterday that obviously are real legit things that the media cannot ignore any longer. And every time they ask questions to it about Joe Biden, he just runs away and says, it's not true. It's just colluded by Russians. All right, I got to go into my basement. And if that's what they're going to do this entire campaign, then that's not going to bode well for the Democrats. I have a question for my Democrat listeners. I know we have some because you email me. And you can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. I'd love to get your thoughts. And this is not trying to be mean in any way, shape, or form. This is true, pure curiosity. For the side that says that Trump is corrupt, that he's involved with meddling in government affairs, that we, on both sides of the aisle, claim that politicians are corrupt, that they use it for their own personal benefit, that we don't like the rich white man any longer. I mean, that's the other side of the aisle. They're trying to say that they're done with politicians that just look out for themselves as opposed to looking out for the actual people. When they try and make these claims, why would you support someone like Joe Biden? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you support someone like Joe Biden who is accused of, whether you believe it or not, it's accused of colluding with other nations, like with the Hunter Biden emails and videos and text messages and all that kind of stuff, using that for kickbacks for their own personal family. The text messages and videos and emails that everything that came out on Fox News last night with Tucker Carlson, saying that they're working on the family legacy. They literally made millions of dollars working with foreign governments for kickbacks to say, we'll help you with your diplomacy if you do this for us, and you can pay us to go and speak. And all that's, by the way, illegal to do with federal government. You're not allowed to use that for your own personal gain. It's supposed to be a public servant. That's what you're supposed to do. But even if there's accusations of it, someone who's been in office for 47 years and was doing shenanigans behind the scenes, which is what politicians do, as you claim, why would you support someone like that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't understand. I'd love to get your thoughts. If you're a Democrat and you honestly are concerned about this, then I want to hear on why you would support. I mean, is Donald Trump just that bad enough to you where you don't really care because you're going to look the other way and support Joe Biden, or support Joe Biden over Donald Trump because you just hate the Cheeto man so bad? I understand that there's a lot of hatred towards him. I get it, but you're kind of supporting the thing that you said you didn't like, the rich, evil white guy who's been using government for his own personal benefit for a really, really long time. Just doesn't make any sense to me. So the latest polls show that Trump's ahead of where he was in 2016 now. What? Now, he was behind in the polls, and they still show that he's behind in the polls. But now he's ahead of where he was in 2016. The polls obviously were wrong. They said that he had a 2% chance of winning on election day on some of these, if they only had like one or two paths to victory. Well, he found the path because he obviously did it. But as they say that Joe Biden's widening the polls in some of these swing states, as he's widening the polls in here, and he's winning over here, and he's barely even showing up, but he's winning over here. I really have a theory, by the way, about that too, with kind of like the Hillary Clinton thing. When she's not in the limelight, then she's doing really well. But then as soon as she actually goes into the public and starts talking, then her approval rating actually goes down. Then her approval rating just plummets and goes down. So if you just stay out of the limelight and just kind of ride the wave, then you can actually do relatively well. That doesn't bode well for an election, though, just because. So Trump is now, according to hotair.com, Trump is now ahead of where he was in 2016, meaning if the polls are more narrow now than what they were in 2016, then wouldn't you think he's going to win by a larger margin? Would make sense to me, right? But now the polls are starting, and my theory is that they're starting to see the momentum from Trump. They're not able to just look the other way when it comes to Joe Biden's emails or Hunter Biden's emails, when it comes to his history of, when it comes to the shenanigans that he's been involved in, with the gaffes that he's been involved with at the same time, that it's just not working for him. And they can't hold up the facade, the lie any longer by saying Joe Biden's winning. There's no way that Donald Trump's going to win this election. Then nobody likes him. I mean, he's got 20,000 people showing up to rallies 3 times a day right now. He wants to do 4. The people can't, his own staff are like, we can't do anymore, dude. We can't hold on to this any longer. We can't go anymore. We are so strapped. We are so stretched. Then we can't do it. He's got the entire family out there all over the place, which is just hilarious. But he's working hard. What's Joe Biden doing? And the media can't ignore it any longer. As I said, if you're any political analyst in any way, shape, or form on any of these media outlets, and you were completely unbiased and you took the face of the character away, the face of the candidate away, and you had no idea who they were, just candidate A is doing 3 campaign events a day the week leading up to election time. Candidate B is showing up on a street corner once in a while. Then you would wonder, gee, I wonder who's going to win this election. And it's starting to catch up to them. It's starting to catch up to them because they can't fake it any longer. So the media is going to turn it around and say, well, you know what? Now he's leading now he's gaining a little bit in the polls. Now he's starting to do a little bit better in the polls. By Tuesday, after all this more continues to break for Joe Biden, they're going to say, wow, he's actually neck and neck. Wow, things are widening, things are tightening. We don't know who's going to win. It's going to be a toss-up all over the place. We don't know. And then when he dominates, they're going to be like, well, it's because of all the scandals that they threw out there that are completely not verified, and we don't know whether it's true or not. We don't know what's going on, but nonetheless, he won. But it's not legitimate because he faked his way through it and he lied through his teeth to get it. So then, of course, they're going to try and belittle him and try and disregard his election and his campaign again. So therefore, for the next 4 years again, then he's going to be an illegitimate president, which is what the media and the Democrats are going to try to do once he wins. Now, I'm going to have a hard time trying to understand that when the House is back in Republican control and the Senate is still in Republican control, and now we have a 6-3 majority of conservatives on the U.S. Supreme Court, and we're just rolling, baby. We're just rolling through. Throw the cases at the Supreme Court. Hey, let's reverse some of these gun policies for Second Amendment issues that have been shut down. Okay. Hey, let's talk about abortion and right to life issues to where we can protect human life. Okay. Bring it back down to the states. Hey, let's say that Obamacare is actually unconstitutional because it does not fit under the Commerce Clause of the United States Constitution. Okay. We got those going. Then we have in the Congress where we can say, let's do the power of the purse. Let's focus on some of this stuff. Let's focus on issues. Again, Ted Cruz came out, according to Business Insider, and has made the comment that the swelling national debt will reemerge as a major concern for Republicans. Obviously, it has to, and especially if they have a majority of Republicans again in leadership, then they need to address the major concerns of the national debt that's continuing to swell, because how much money have we spent on COVID? And we just did an omnibus bill to keep the budget going so we don't shut down the government because we're really terrified and scared about a government shutdown, and we don't want that. So we just pile it all into one big bill rather than the 12 appropriation bills that are what we're supposed to be doing. And we just cram it all into one big thing, throw as much money into it as we want to, and just kick it on down the road for another year. Doesn't work that way anymore. We need to address it. And if we have Republicans in the House and in the Senate, we can actually address that. Wouldn't that be nice? Then we had what Ted Cruz commented on during the hearings with Twitter on the censorship of the New York Post articles. And this is what he had to say on those.
I find that facially highly dubious and clearly employed in a deeply partial way. Did Twitter block the distribution of the New York Times' story a few weeks ago that purported to be based on copies of President Trump's tax returns?
We didn't find that a violation of our terms of service and this policy in particular, because it was reporting about the material. It wasn't distributing the material.
Okay, well, that's actually not true. They posted what they purported to be original source materials, and federal law, federal statute makes it a crime, a federal felony, to distribute someone's tax returns against their knowledge. So that material was based on something that was distributed in violation of federal law, and yet Twitter gleefully allowed people to circulate that. But when the article was critical of Joe Biden, Twitter engaged in rampant censorship and silencing.
And again, we recognized errors in that policy. We changed it within 24 hours. This is.
But you're still blocking the New York Post. You haven't changed it.
We have changed it. They can log into their account, delete the original tweet.
You forced a Politico reporter to take down his post about the New York Post as well. Is that correct?
Within that 24-hour period, yes. But we, as the policy has changed, anyone can tweet.
So Twitter takes the view you can censor the New York Post, you can censor Politico, presumably you can censor the New York Times or any other media outlet. Mr. Dorsey, who the hell elected you and put you in charge of what the media are allowed to report and what the American people are allowed to hear? And why do you persist in behaving as a Democratic super PAC?
Boom. There you go. That's Ted Cruz going after Twitter because it's right, because they're rigging everything they can to try and ruin this election. We'll continue this when we come back. We got a lot to get to here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast Catch our special features and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. It goes by way too fast. Stop it. Slow down for just a second. Just a second. Let's actually get through some of this. We have policy issues that are coming up that I think are going to drive people to the polls. I'm telling you, I'm thinking we're going to see a major wave. People are waking up. People are frustrated. People are angry. That's why we're seeing people turn out to the polls like we are right now. We are tired of COVID. We're tired of the lockdowns. We're tired of the conspiracies. We're tired of the corruption. We're tired of people doing things for their own personal benefit. We're tired of it. Just tired of it. That's why we're so frustrated with social media right now, not allowing certain things to be on social media. And good for Ted Cruz going after Mr. Dorsey with Twitter about why this link won't allow to be posted on Twitter, why everybody gets blocked when they actually do try to post this link. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. People are not going to stand for it. That's why populism, as much as I do not like populism, there's a reason and a purpose for it, because people just get angry and then they end up going and changing something. So luckily, the populism right now is on the conservative side. And if we do have this massive red tsunami, the Democrats are going to have to really revisit themselves and really do some deep reflection on what they're going to do to rebuild themselves from there on. Because if we really show by having a conservative majority on the Supreme Court, by having Trump, who's the most divisive president I think we've ever had in the country, then we have the Republican Senate and a Republican House. If we have the red across the board like that, that is an absolute major defeat for Democrats like they've never seen before, which means they're going to have to go back and reevaluate how they actually operate their organization. They're going to have to majorly reevaluate this. That socialism, the AOCs, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Bernie Sanders, the Cory Bookers, the Kamala Harris, that's not going to be acceptable anymore. They're going to have to realize that that's not going to be an acceptable way to operate government any longer. The establishment, Joe Bidens, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Adam Schiffs, all of those, they're going to have to realize that can't be the leadership any longer. Do you realize how desperate the Democrats are to not allow anybody else to take control of the Democrat Party? AOC's tried. They put her in her place by putting her on so many committees that she doesn't have time to actually go on to the media any longer and talk about her values. They've kept Bernie Sanders at arm's length. They tried to have a Kennedy come back just a couple years ago, if you remember, to respond to the State of the Union speech, because you know what? It's a young, fresh voice, and boom, that was it. You didn't hear from him a word again. That was over, because they don't want someone new to take over the party, but yet they're going to have to if they're going to evolve and if they're going to survive. Then you hear about the voter fraud going on. How many, show of hands, how many people actually follow Project Veritas? Major project, trying to actually understand some of the shenanigans that are going on. They recorded a 2-minute video, and I'm not going to have time to play the whole thing, but they recorded a 2-minute video of this gal taking phone calls and explaining how much money she receives to stack the voting to bring illegal voters into precincts to vote and actually get people certain votes and get them elected.
These Republicans want to help Biden too?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm getting paid to do. My people are undercover because some of them are Republicans, some of them are Democrats. So some of my Republicans are precinct chairs that cannot be known because they could get kicked out, but they want to help the Biden.
For the entire team that I'm looking at $55,000.
So $55,000 for 5,000 votes confident they get eager Biden.
That's right.
Cash.
Cash. So I have a state rep, I have a senator right now. I'm talking in my pocket. State rep, senator, commissioner, judges. I respect you. You're going to owe me. Okay? Just remember what I'm doing.
And she's okay with that.
Yeah, who is it?
Got Pete in the pocket.
Like model right now. So he was paying me $5,000 a month, and now he's paying me $8,000 a month.
So you don't have to pay you $700 cash just to take care of that.
You take care of it. Everybody else would have paid me $3,000. She didn't have it. She just got screwed.
Right. Instead of $3,000, you got $700.
So what does she owe me? Favors. What does she do? Produce.
So it's not bad to have a chief judge?
I've got 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans. You're talking between $5 to $8 per vote. I'm just letting you know, so you have an idea. And I'm going to bring $3,500 to the plate.
Okay.
Countywide. So I know what I'm bringing to the plate countywide. So that's like $28,000.
All right, there's more to it. You're going to have to go on Twitter and watch at Project Veritas. You can find them numerous times. Judges, state reps, local officials, even trying to pay $55,000 to bring 5,000 votes in for Joe Biden down there in Texas. And according to Project Veritas, they're going to release a new video like this each and every day up leading to election time, meaning there's more of them, which is why we need to be diligent to actually show up and actually go and vote, because they're trying to rig the system because they realize that their party is in destruction. They're trying to hold up the empty, shallow party that is the Democrats. Podcast going up a little bit. Back at it tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have a great lineup as well. We have a Republican National Committee spokesperson jumping on the show, along with other great guests. Until then, this is The Voice of Reason. Everybody have a wonderful Wednesday evening. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.